Breaking news, the FBI has opened an investigation into 6 Democratic members of Congress. President Trump has accused them of seditious behavior, and federal agents are now looking into these claims. This is huge, and we need to talk about what's really happening here. Let's break it. Welcome to the Republic feed. Here are the facts we know right now. The FBI confirmed they've launched what's called a preliminary inquiry into 6 sitting Congress members, all Democrats. This came after President Trump publicly accused them of sedition. Now, sedition is a serious federal crime. It means conduct that incites rebellion against the government or interferes with its lawful operations. We're not talking about disagreeing with policy. We're talking about potential conspiracy against the state. The FBI hasn't released the names of these lawmakers, which is standard procedure in ongoing investigations, but sources suggest they're members who've been vocally critical of the current administration. Here's what's important. A preliminary inquiry is the FBI gathering information to decide if a full investigation is warranted. No charges, no subpoenas yet, just fact-finding at this stage. So why is this blowing up? Because this raises massive questions about the line between law enforcement and political warfare. Critics say this is the weaponization of the FBI, using federal law enforcement to intimidate and silence political opponents. They argue no president should be able to sic the FBI on lawmakers who disagree with them. That's authoritarian behavior, and it sets a terrifying precedent. Democratic leaders are calling this a dark day for democracy. Civil liberties groups are alarmed. Even some Republicans are uncomfortable with how this looks. But supporters argue if Congress members broke the law, they should be investigated like anyone else. They point to what they call obstructionist behavior and say accountability matters, regardless of political position. Here's the core tension. The FBI is supposed to be independent. It's meant to investigate based on evidence, not political orders. So the question everyone's asking is this legitimate law enforcement, or is this politics by prosecution? And honestly, we don't have enough information yet to know for sure. The FBI hasn't presented evidence publicly, and these Congress members haven't been charged with anything. What we do know is the bar for sedition is extremely high. You can criticize the government. You can call for impeachment. You can oppose policies. What you can't do is actively conspire to illegally overthrow or disrupt government operations. Prosecutors would need to prove that level of intent. You might be thinking, politicians investigating politicians? Why should I care? Here's why this affects you. First, precedent. Whatever happens here becomes the playbook. If this becomes normal, any future president, Democrat or Republican, could target opposing lawmakers. That fundamentally changes how our government works. Congress is supposed to check executive power. But if Congress members fear FBI investigations for opposing the president, that check disappears. Second, institutional trust. The FBI's credibility depends on being seen as non-political. Right now, half the country thinks the FBI is politically biased one way, and the other half thinks it's biased the other way. If this investigation is seen as politically motivated, that trust gets even worse. Third, your representation. These are elected officials. If they're distracted by investigations, removed from committees, or forced out of office, that impacts their ability to represent their constituents. Maybe your district, maybe your state. Fourth, free speech. If lawmakers can be investigated for sedition based on political criticism or opposition, where's the line? Today it's Congress members. Tomorrow, could it be activists, journalists, citizens? This is about checks and balances, the foundation of American democracy. When one branch starts investigating another for political reasons, those checks start breaking down. So where does this go from here? The FBI will continue gathering information. If they find sufficient evidence, they'll open a full investigation. That's when you see subpoenas and witness interviews. Then the Department of Justice decides whether to bring charges. That requires approval from top DOJ officials, and the evidence would need to be rock solid. Here's the reality. Most preliminary inquiries don't result in charges. The process often reveals there's not enough evidence to proceed. Here's what to watch for. 1. Whether the FBI releases any specific evidence or justification. 2. How long this inquiry lasts. If it drags on for months, that's unusual. 3. Whether any investigated members step down from committee positions.